Good morning, all. It's great to see so many of you on the call this morning. So just a brief summary, what we're sort of looking to do today. First, I'm going to kind of talk to you about your finance processes and your systems. This isn't going to be the really big value add one. This is just looking at making sure we save you some time, potentially save you some money in the way that you're kind of resourcing things, and just making sure that everything's as slick and efficient as it can be. Once we've talked about those systems and we've got some great systems in place, we'll then talk a little bit about how you can actually better understand your business finances. For a lot of people, I think they don't spend a huge amount of time looking at how their business is performing on a monthly or quarterly basis. And that is really, really important. So I want to talk to you about a few tools and a few ways that you can look in your finances in a little bit more detail. The last thing I'll then talk to you about is just how to really understand your financial information, and really why that looking forward and forecasting is absolutely critical for driving growth within your business. And a few of the other key benefits as well, hopefully for those of you that do use cloud accounting already, it's paperless, it's very, very secure, it's all backed upon secure servers. There's no updates to run, the software is always on the latest version, and those are usually updated in the middle of the night so it doesn't distract anyone. You don't need to do any backups, you don't need to do any upgrades. And it just gives you that real-time view of your business. It's very, very useful. A lot of you will already be on there, but again, if anyone has got any particular questions on cloud accounting, I'm happy to talk to you a little bit more about that. So for me, this is this is a bit of technology that I really, really like actually. It's looking, we're looking at efficient processing, and one of the key things that we've started using recently is an app called Receipt Bank. There's other ones available. There's HubDoc that connects in with Xero. QuickBooks have got their own version as well, and something like Auto Entry also works. But this is really just using technology to make things a little bit simpler. So I'll give you an example of how Receipt Bank works. Say Kevin and I go out for a coffee, and we're going out for a coffee to discuss this webinar or something like that. The old-fashioned way, if I wanted to put that through the business, I would go back to the office, I would log the receipt into my accounting software, the date, the amount, what it related to, and plug it all in. But the much better way to do all this now is actually just to take a photo of it with an app on your smartphone. So, it is with Receipt Bank as the example. You download the app onto your smartphone, you hold the receipt, snap the photo, and it sends the information straight to your accounting software. That is far, far better for everyone. You're not losing your receipts, you're not forgetting to claim your expenses, you're not manually inputting the amounts and the dates and all that kind of thing. It's a much, much better way of doing things, and it just gets rid of what otherwise is quite a boring job. No one likes doing their expenses. Now, as I touched on earlier, what does this all mean really? Why are we talking about these things? Well, it is to save you time. For me, trying to make these processes for our business as quick and as slick and as efficient as possible just saves me time. So I've got more time to think about, dealing with my existing clients, winning new business, managing the staff internally, whatever it might be. It gives me time back in my day, and it just gets rid of the tasks that no one likes doing really. And I think what's really, really important with all of this is you need to track your financial performance, and you need to set budgets. I'll talk a little bit more about budgets and forecasts in a few minutes. But you need to look at your business financials. It's something that I do all the time with our business. We look at the numbers monthly, we look at them quarterly, we compare it against our budget. We look to see, if we've set ourselves this budget, we've only got 3 months left in the year, is it achievable? You start to spot some strengths and weaknesses within the business, and it's really, really important to monitor trends over time. But this all leads on to what hopefully is the slightly more exciting bit with all of this really, is how do you drive growth within your business? I'm sure many of you aren't going to say, my business is perfect, I don't want it to grow, there's nothing I want changing. I think the very reason you're on this call shows that you're ambitious, you're looking to grow your business, you're excited, you're hungry for growth, and that's great. That's the first challenge out of the way. But it's how do we actually do this? And from Kevin will obviously talk in a little bit. He's going to give you some genuine tips of if you do X, Y, and Z, you can grow the revenues in your business. It's harder for me as an accountant to say how you should grow your business. But what we can do for sure is help set budgets and forecasts that you want to aspire to. So say your revenue this year is £500,000 or something like that, and you want it to grow to £600,000 next year. Well, that's great, and we can talk around the different ways that you might be able to grow your revenues. But what, of course, is really, really important to know is, well, if you do grow your revenue by £100,000, how might your cost base need to grow? Do you need to employ someone else? Do you need extra office space?
Because there's misconceptions that I think we need to overcome. Then I'm going to talk about why you need to improve your marketing and what you need to do and why you need to do it today. Before the main bulk of the presentation is looking at the 9 core elements, and these are the 9 items that we think should be in every single marketing piece to make it more effective. So that's where hopefully you'll get the most value from the seminar from me. We'll then look at a bit of testing and proving that you're getting a return on investment. And finally, I'm just going to finish off with a couple of examples, just so you understand, well, this is what you see, it doesn't work well, what does work well. So just as a couple of examples, this is an extremely successful letter that was written by the Wall Street Journal to get subscribers. And it's over 2 pages, but that's how much they needed to get their message across and get people to understand all of the benefits of what they were offering. Let's talk about now why your marketing must improve now, because effectively you see a lot of people wasting money on marketing that's just not being effective. So this is a statistic I quite like, and it's it's from the New York Times, and it's set in New York, which is a city, so it might be slightly different. But in the 80s, people saw 2,000 subliminal messages per day, but now they're seeing around 5,000. So every time you drive to work or you listen to the radio, you're always getting subliminal messages. But the point is that there's so many, people are not taking those on board. They're just the noise in the background. So what you've got to do is find a way to make sure that your marketing stands out from the crowd and gets through to people who are just bombarded all day with lots of different messages. Tiny bit. So features and benefits. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I see in a lot of marketing is people just writing features. And in fact, I'm sure most of us have done it. But a feature is a statement about what it does or what you do. It forms the logical part of the decision-making process. Now, it's important, but on its own, it's not enough. What you need to be doing is adding benefits, because they're the sizzle, they're the things that get people excited and want them to take action. They're the emotional triggers that make them take action today, along with the logical part of the brain making the decision that it is sensible to do. And what you're answering with benefits is what's in it for me, what's in it for the customer, why would they work with you? Now, benefits are really easy to identify once you've got your features. So the way I recommend you do it is you make a table with your left-hand list is the features of your product or service. Then you add which means that, and then just list the corresponding benefits to each of those features. And then that really helps you identify the benefits you want to be listing. So for example, for a bedside clock, the feature is that it includes batteries, and that's what the marketing often says. But what does that mean? Well, that means that it's ready to use straight out of the box. That's the benefit for the customer of that product. It's zero hassle for them. They can just use it straight away. They don't have to buy batteries elsewhere. What I want to do now is just emphasize the reason why you then test it. Now, the importance of testing is you just don't know in advance which headlines, for example, are going to work best without testing. It's impossible to understand. You can't get in the heads of all of your target customers to say what will work. And the only way to prove it is to test it. But what you can also do is really increase the conversion rate of your materials. So for example, the way you do that for websites, as Andy I'm sure would say, is A/B testing, which is you have 2 versions that every other customer sees each one, and there's just a slight difference between the 2. And then as long as you've got good website traffic, you can quickly see which is working better. And then invoke the one that's working better, keep that, and then go on to the next change. And over time, you can really improve the performance of your web page or any piece of marketing.